just got on the Parkway, Blue Ridge Parkway. At Smoky Gap, just above Maggie Valley, heading back to Balsam Mountain Campground. Now, once you get on the Blue Ridge Parkway at Smoky Gap, you head south towards Cherokee. You don't want to head north back towards Asheville. You want to head south towards Cherokee and go just a couple of miles, and you will see the sign on your right for Heintooga Ridge Road. So it's also called Balsam Mountain Road. I don't remember exactly which one the sign says. Balsam Mountain Road. It actually, the road goes about 9 miles and it dead ends at Heintooga Ridge. Now, I just want to say that if you're looking for a place in the Smokies that's not congested like Cades Cove, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, come to the North Carolina side and come to this section of the park. While there are some people, it is a lot, and I mean a lot less crowded than over on the Tennessee side. And the Heintooga Overlook, you basically go to the road ends, and there's a little roundabout there at the end, and you just walk out there through the grass, what, a couple hundred yards, 100 yards maybe, and there's a bench or 2 benches out there, and you can watch some of the most magnificent sunsets back over the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We're going to be camping for 2 nights. We are going to do one sunset from there and one from Water Rock Knob. We're not sure which night's going to be which yet, but just a really, really nice place to take in a sunset. It's very quiet. Usually when we're out there for sunset, we've done it, what, twice. It was just us out there.
Yeah, I mean, well, the second time someone came out,
but they didn't stay.
They didn't stay.
Yeah. But just wanted to make you aware of that if you're not. You sit at an elevation of about 5,300 feet. In fact, Balsam Mountain Campground is the highest campground in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. If you'll remember, about a month ago, back in June, we did a ride-through of Deep Creek Campground in Bryson City, and we did a ride-through of Smoky Campground outside of Cherokee. We are actually camping. We're not just riding through. We're camping 2 nights at Balsam Mountain. And it sits at an elevation of 5,310 feet above sea level. It's over a mile high. And when we got there this afternoon, it was the perfect temperature. I mean, it was about 90 down in when we left home. It was upper 80s. It was supposed to go into the low 90s. And yet at Balsam Mountain, it was about 70 degrees. So perfect weather. Probably going to be a little chilly tonight, but we'll see. Up here, we're coming up on our right turn. I know that's awfully dark. It says Balsam Mountain to the right. There's the sign for the campground. And you actually turn right here at Wolf Laurel Gap off of the Blue Ridge Parkway. And the campground is 8 miles. And the Heintooga Overlook for the sunset is 9 miles. It's not far from the campground at all. There's actually, we're not technically in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park at this point. There's another campground that's not affiliated with the national park. It's right here on the left, and it's called Mile High Campground. Now, that's a really nice campground because a lot of the sites have open views of the mountains, whereas Balsam Mountain Campground does not. They both sit at over 5,300 feet in elevation. Have camped at Mile High one time. They actually have showers there because, again, it's not a national park campground. You enter the national park again in a couple of miles from here. But I think Mile High is actually on the Cherokee Indian Reservation. So
I think it is.
That's a good campground too. And they do have showers there, and they have open views of the mountains if you can get one of the right spots. But Balsam Mountain is still nice. It's very quiet. They're both quiet campgrounds. So the only difference is the showers, and this one's a lot closer to the Blue Ridge Parkway, and Balsam Mountain is about another 7 miles from here. But Mile High should be coming right up here on the left. Alright, when you see the sign here from Molly Gap, Mile High Campground will be your next left. Just after the sign. Right here's the entrance to that. I'm sorry it's so dark. The sun's just at a bad angle right now. So it's down in that road. So, now coming up here to the right, you have the Maggie Valley Overlook. Let me roll my window down. Sorry for the wind that you probably hear. up here on the right, you have the Maggie Valley Overlook, and you're looking actually down into Maggie Valley. Imagine that. Probably where they got that name. Well, my apologies. First on the left, you have the Mile High Overlook. You're looking back at the Great Smoky Mountains from that one. And right here on the right, my wife's running about 80 right now, so I'm sorry for the big blur that you just saw. Anyway, that is a nice view. Okay, Shaughnessy dropped me off here at the entrance to Balsam Mountain Campground, and I'm going to do a walk-through. Try to be respectful of the campers and their sites, but try to let you see the campground a little bit. So this is as you first enter in, and of course you got a park map here, and a map of the campground, their rules and regulations. Like I say, this is a quiet campground. Instructions on not to feed the bear, and you should never ever feed a bear. I don't care if you're renting a cabin and you see one, that will end up in the death of the bear most likely. So there are also elk in this section of the national park. You really only see elk on the North Carolina side. I know one or two did go across the mountain to Tennessee here a year or two ago, and then they came back across, but a lot of people go to Cades Cove thinking they're going to see elk, and they're just not, because they're not there. But there are elk over in Cataloochee and Cherokee and everywhere in between. So I'll walk through the campground here. Site 1 right here at the very beginning. Site 2. Hey, one good thing about this campground is that a lot of the sites are very well shaded. There's a few that are in the sun, but because it really doesn't get that hot up here anyway. Like I say, you're at an elevation right now of 5,310 feet. But it's a small campground. I think there's just 42 sites. And actually there's site 42. And you can see it's very secluded down in there, very shady. Over here's site 4, a little bit more open, a little larger. And of course, here's where you check in. This is the campground host. Up here's site 5. That's a nice open site if you like an open site. Okay. Restrooms. And one thing about all of the national park campgrounds in the Great Smokies, the Great Smoky Mountains is a bear habitat, so there are strict guidelines in order for food storage. And basically you cannot leave a cooler out if you're not using it. It has to be put up in a vehicle, not in your tent. Here's site number 40. That one sits down off the road a little bit. It's kind of sloped on that one. I'd probably look for another one if it was me. 39, that's a nice one if you like a good shaded area right there. A little bit more level, somewhat sloped. 38. It's a lot easier doing this as a walk-through than a drive-through. Site 7 over there. And the tent pad's elevated up above the rest of the campsite there. Alright, we make our way. We're in site 19, by the way. But I'm going to go ahead and make an entire loop. But like I say, it's a small campground. Over here's site number 8. Not a bad site, it's a little bit small. I wouldn't really want a site that I had to climb steps, because we bring a lot of stuff camping with us, a lot of heavy tubs and stuff, storage tubs. So, move out of the way, there's a car coming. Let them go on past. There's site 9 and 10. If it were me, I would try to avoid having to go up steps. Here's site 37. It's actually a nice little shady site there. .36 down there. So it looks like that's a good open site with a lot of space. Now, here's number 11. And like I said, we're in 19, which you can see our tent. Straight through this site. Nobody's in 11. Apparently somebody's coming in, looks like tomorrow. No, I'm sorry. Today's the 30th. That would be Sunday. Anyway, there's our setup. That's 19 over there. So we're making our way around that way. Site 12. I like that one. A lot of good grassy areas. Some shade, some sun. Down there's 35. I got a little white poodle looking dog barking at me. 34. And right here you got several sites beside each other if you don't mind neighbors and open view. Looks like 33. Now that's a good spacious site down there. Again, you gotta go up and down the rock stairs, but if you don't mind doing that, that was a good one. Alright. And then on to 32. This campground's starting to fill up from when we were here earlier. And 32 is right next to the bathroom, which is convenient if you need a bathroom close. It's not so convenient if people flushing the commode all night wakes you up. So, alright, now there's several sites up in there. I think 26 through 31. And some of those in the back are a pretty good little walk to haul a lot of stuff, but they're nice. Alright, we're at 16, almost back to our site. And 17. Over here on the right side is 25. Looks like somebody's coming into that one tomorrow. That's kind of a small one. And here's 18. That's a nice site. Plenty of shade. 19. And my lovely wife has set my cot up for me.
I can't get the last bar.
Okay, well I'm going to go on and finish the walkthrough, so have that last bar in there when I get back. Nah, I'll get it. That's fine. So anyway, here's Mr. Rovier and Mr. Renoir. Rovier threw up in the truck a little bit ago. He's a little sick on his stomach.
Yeah, he's not wanting to eat.
Yeah, and he's not eating his food all day. We make him a homemade chicken and carrots, and what else do you put in there? Brown rice. Alright, so I'm going to do the walkthrough and I'll come back. Here's 24. That's a nice little site there. Plenty of shade there. Back on this side's 20. And coming up on 21. Again, trying to be respectful, not just record people for long periods of time. 22. And this just about concludes it. I know I said there was 42 sites, but we actually passed 42 and the 30s on the way up here. So this concludes the loop. And this is 25, I think, if I'm not mistaken. This is a nice site here. It's kind of right here in the curve where everybody's leaving, but it's plenty of space over in there. I'm sorry, that's 23. My mistake. All right. So Might as well. I know we came up this way, but I'm going to loop back up this way and cut through that empty one back to mine. So that's a tour of Balsam Mountain Campground. Really nice campground, high altitude. The weather's cool. Could not ask for a more comfortable temperature. From what I understand, it can get pretty chilly at night, even in the summer. So I guess we'll be finding that out. This empty one here. And honestly, if you ever, these would be two good ones to have if you ever had another family or friends coming with you. Would be site, I believe that was 11 and 19, because they're separated just with this little path right here. And I'm not going to leave that tarp on all night. We were a little worried when we went to eat that it might thunderstorm. And sleeping in wet sleeping bags is not fun. So, and people a lot of times ask, what do you do for a shower? Well, none of the national park campgrounds have showers, and I'm just not going to stink. So, what? Yeah, a few years back on Pinterest, we saw where somebody had made a shower enclosure out of PVC pipe. Now, I think that's 1/2 inch. If I had it to do over again, I would use a thicker, more sturdy PVC pipe, but really, you can make it about any size you want to. Mine is 6 foot long by 4 feet wide. I think the one on Pinterest was 6 by 3. It just didn't seem like enough room, so we'll stand back and let you see. This is very simple. Get you a couple shower hooks and a couple of tarps, and you make your enclosure there, and you have a changing room and a shower. One bit of advice I will give you is, if you're going to shower at night, don't take your lantern in there and set it right next to you, because you can see through tarps.
Your outline will be visible.
Yeah, your outline will be visible. We kind of doubled up on the tarps on that side. You learn things by experience, you know. But anyway, that has come in handy many times. We heat our water up on the fire, put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and come out, and you're about as clean as you would be at home. So, you want to say anything? She's in her anti-gravity chair.
Wish I was anti-gravity.
Huh?
Wish I was anti-gravity.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna rest a little bit. So.
Show them inside the tent.
Well, no, that's a mess in there. Well, I guess I could.
Let us see all of our camo stuff.
Yeah, we have a camo mattress, which Intex no longer makes these, so I dread the day that thing gets a hole in it. I love that. I bought that years ago in Boone at Walmart, Boone, North Carolina. Camo sleeping bag, got that at Academy Sports on Black Friday, I believe.
Camo tarps, camo cot.
Camo tarps, yeah.
Camo cot, camo chairs.
Yeah, camo cot.
Gray camo.
Got that at the Pigeon Forge Coleman tent sale. They had a tent sale out there in the outlet one day. And camp chairs. We like camo.
And I got gray camo on.
Yeah, she's got gray camo on. I'm wearing Tennessee Volunteers polo, which I'm getting ready to change out of. So anyway, this is a tour of Balsam Mountain Campground. I like it. This is my first time camping here. I've rode through it a few times, but I like it. It's a nice campground. So hopefully, what would make it more complete is if we see an elk walk through here or something.
He said he hasn't seen one of those walk through here. And
I've seen pictures of him through here.
Several weeks since the mama bear and her cubs come through here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that either, but obviously keep a distance. Well, from either one of them, but alright, well, anyway, hope you enjoyed this tour. Okay, well, we are leaving Balsam Mountain Campground. It is about 6:35 Sunday morning, and tell them about our night camping.
It rained.
It rained. Now, I already knew I had to get up early this morning. We were going to break camp by 7 anyway, because I have to get back home and teach. This is my Sunday to teach Sunday school at church, so like I say, we're 2 hours away, so we were going to break camp about 7 o'clock anyway, but they were calling for no rain last night at all. There was no rain in the forecast, and after about 3 o'clock a.m., it came a downpour that lasted for about 2 hours straight, didn't it?
Yes, lightning, thunder.
Lightning, thunder. So everything we had left out got wet. So we just got on up, packed every wet belonging we have. Fortunately, we had packed some things last night that didn't get wet, but what was left out is soaked. So anyway, we are headed home. Nasty and gritty and dirty, and about a 2 hour drive ahead of us. Then we're going to get a shower and head on to church and forget last night ever happened. But overall, what's your impressions of Balsam Mountain Campground?
It's a nice campground. It really is.
It's a nice campground. It just rains when it's not supposed to rain. First night, didn't have any problems at all. Would rather have had rain the first night than last night. That's just how it goes. We don't get to choose that. But yeah, definitely a nice campground. Quiet for the most part.
Depends on who your neighbors
It does depend on who your neighbors are. Our neighbors didn't realize the quiet time, I think, started at 10 p.m. They stayed up to about midnight last night talking in something less than a whisper, or something more than a whisper, let me say it that way. But anyway, other than that, it is a very quiet campground, very nice, high altitude, cool temperatures. If you do decide to come here and camp, you might want to bring you long sleeves for the evenings or the mornings, depending on how cold-natured you are. But definitely a nice campground. You access, once again, Balsam Mountain Campground by taking Highway 19 out of Maggie Valley. If you're coming from the east, from the Asheville area, take Highway 19 out of Maggie Valley up to the top at Soko Gap. You'll see the sign for the Blue Ridge Parkway. Instead of continuing on down into Cherokee, get on the Blue Ridge Parkway and turn left, which heads south. And once you head south towards Cherokee and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, you go, what, maybe 3 miles?
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah, and you'll see the sign for Balsam Mountain Road. And you just turn on that road and you go about 8 miles out that road, and Balsam Mountain Campground will be on your left right before the road ends at Heintooga Overlook. So anyway, I do recommend the campground. It's been a little bit of a rough morning and we're kind of glad to be heading home, but it's a very nice campground in a beautiful area of the park, a lot less crowded than other areas of the park, so it does have that going for it. But anyway, thank you for watching, and like and subscribe, and have a blessed day. Okay, well, right after I asked y'all to like and subscribe, we were around the corner, and here's this big guy. This is a bull elk, and he seems pretty calm. I'm not getting out of the vehicle. You know, he's wanting me to go on now, so I'm going to go on. But
that's pretty neat.
yeah, that was neat. I mean, literally right as I shut the camera off, he was around the corner. So, did want to share that with you. But as always, the wildlife in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is to be enjoyed from a distance. I know we were close, but that's because he was on the side of the road that we're driving on. But we did not get out of our vehicles and approach him like some people do. An elk that size, you saw the rack he had on him. An elk that size could kill you. He could gore you to death. So do not approach him. If he gets aggressive towards you, he's the one that gets put down. You might get put down too by him. But then he will be euthanized, and that's not fair to him, because all we have to do is watch him from a distance and everything will be fine. Same thing with bears. Don't feed bears. Don't approach bears. Enjoy the bears from a safe distance. Don't make them feel threatened, and they'll probably not make you feel threatened. Okay, a couple more clips here. We've been riding by some of the overlooks on our way out Balsam Mountain Road, and some of the views here are just amazing this morning after the rain, and you can see the mountains and the mist and the clouds. And we're here at the Maggie Valley Overlook right now. And let me ease on up here just a little bit. You can see the sun starting to come up, and way out there in the distance beyond Maggie Valley is Mount Pisgah, which is off the Blue Ridge Parkway. South of Asheville, you can see Mount Pisgah. Now, one of the things Mount Pisgah is famous for, other than the fact they have a really nice inn that you can go up and stay in, a restaurant off the parkway, is that they have the biggest snow ever recorded in the state of North Carolina for the month of May back in 1991. There's different reports of how much snow they got. One report says they got 57.5 inches. Some a little less, but it was well over 40 inches to 50 inches. We know that, and it was in the month of May. It slammed Mount Pisgah, and we're pulling over to Mile High Overlook now. I'm going to let Shaughnessy have the camera here and record out that side just a little bit. Look at the clouds in the valley down there.
I know, and look at, like, above, see where the sun's hitting the top of the clouds.
I'm going to jump out and get a picture. Don't you dare get me in this video the way I'm dressed right now.
Right here.